Marhaban bikum, you're welcome back to our explanation series. So let's continue. We're currently discussing the letters that come out from the tongue. We've discussed the back of the tongue, middle of the tongue, side of the tongue. We're currently discussing the tip of the tongue, which we can call toroful lisan. Toroful lisan. Now, it depends on where that tip of the tongue hits from the upper palate or the upper part of the mouth. That would determine the letter that comes out from that particular place. So we've discussed lam, I think in the video before the previous video, and then we discussed nun, right? Now today we are going to be discussing ra. We're going to be discussing ra. If you remember from the opinions we said we have from scholars regarding the numbers of points of origins, the numbers of points of articulation, we said we have the opinion of being 14, right? And we said, why did those people who said 14, why did they say 14? Why didn't they go with 17? We said because they said they regard lam, nun, and ra to be coming out from the same place. But if we'll, observe it properly, we would see that we have some little bit differences in the pronunciation or where the lam, nun, and ra are actually coming out from. For example, lam, al. When you say al, lam. Now for nun, an, you can see there's it shifts backward. Al, an. The tongue has shifted backward in that upper palate. Now, raw, also, there will also be a little bit, shift backward again. R, R, R. So let's go back to it. Lam, nun, and raw. Al, an, R. You can see there's this shifting backward. So which means we have some differences in their pronunciation, some little differences in their pronunciation. I hope we get that. So let's get into it. Ra, when ra takes sukun, where does it come out from? So basically it comes out from the same place, very close region with lam and ra and nun. So we can say taraful lisan, the tip of the tongue, ma'ama yuhadhihi, with what it touches, min lifati al-thanaya al-ulya, from what it touches in the upper part of the mouth, or al-hanak al-a'la. Do you understand? So the tip of the tongue from what it touches of the gum, of the upper palate. So we say what? Aru, or let's bring a word that has ra sukun in it. For example, Maryam, Maru, Maru, Uru, Uru, Maryam, Maryam. Good. When it takes fatha, we have Rasul, Ra, Ra, Rasul. Take note of this. I did not say Rasul, Rasul. This is one of the common error. Let me just quickly add it. Okay. Some people, some every letters, some people would they will pronounce it lightly. So for example, law, we already mentioned that some people just say the, while the is not the, it's law. For example, sod, saw, it is saw, not sir. So this one too, rasul is not rasul, rasul. I get that a lot. That mistake, I get it a lot from reciters and memorizers of the Quran. I get it a lot. So it's not rasul, rasul is ora. You have to make the effort. So ora, rasul, and then we have, if it's taken kasra, we have risala. Ri is not re. It's not re. We've already mentioned that earlier, that whenever a letter takes kasra, let us hear the kasra properly. And how do you know you're pronouncing the kasra properly? Actually, it must have the e sound. E, ri, ta kasra, ti, sin kasra, si, she, b. You can see that e sound is strong. That's how you know you're pronouncing the letter with kasra properly. Okay, so risala, and when the sixth dhamma, we have rusulun, rusulun, as simple as that. Now let's go to the common errors that we have in this particular letter. Now, in the pronunciation of this letter ra, we have three groups of people. We have number one, those people who pronounce it with a bit of let's say exaggeration. Okay, so when you want to say ra, they roll their tongue more than once. And when you want to pronounce ra, the rolling of tongue should just come once. Ra, 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 just once. When you say even though I cannot actually do that properly, but we have many people who does that. They will like they will roll their tongue more than once, like twice, thrice, and so on like that. So you don't do that. That's exaggeration in pronunciation of ra. Okay, ra, not and wherever you have it with any other vowel sign. And also we have the second group of people that pronounce it just normally and correctly. We've practiced it. And then we have the third group of people that are kind of, they don't pronounce it properly, perhaps because of how their tongue is, or because they haven't practiced enough to be able to correct that pronunciation and tongue. And that is the people we have that pronounce something like ra. They'll be like rasul, rasul. There are people that cannot pronounce maybe r generally. They'll be like ra, 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 ra. So most of them, they pronounce it from the throat. They'll be like ra, ra, rasul, rasul, rasul. So if we have them practice enough, in fact, most of them will be able to get this properly. When you tell them where the letter should actually come from, and that it shouldn't come from the throat part, it should come from the tip of the tongue, touching where it is supposed to touch. Most of them will most likely get it right by saying ra, ra, ra. And that is one of the reasons why we are learning this, so that you know the proper place to, to pronounce a particular letter. So not rasul, rasul, it's ra, ra, rasul. These are the three groups of people, okay? And another thing when it comes to the common errors is depends on the circumstances of ra when it takes sukun, because we have rulings of ra separately, rulings of ra. Aha. So the application of the rulings of ra, sometimes, especially when it takes sukun, some people may not get it properly, maybe because they've not studied up to those extent. So, for example, when ra takes sukun and there's fatha before it, there's a way it sounds. So it sounds something like mar, Maryam, mar, oro, oro. You don't say Maryam, Maryam. That pronunciation of ra will be wrong. Do you understand? Or you say something like qaru, qaru, yeah, qaru. You can say qaru, uru, uru. I didn't say qari, yeah, qari, qari. I did not say that. So in that situation, the ra will be heavy. And when there's kasra before ra, in some certain circumstances, for example, fir'aun, fir'aun. You see how I pronounce the ra there, fir. I did not say fear, fear. If you say fir'aun, the ra there will be wrong, because the ra should be light there, and many other things regarding that. I just brought two examples. We have many other issues surrounding that. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding. I hope you've learned one or two things in this video. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum.